Just as now you will find some people will say, I don't want to wear hijab, or I don't want to dress like those girls over there in the hijab or the niqab and gloves, because they're known as being terrorists. Or they're known as those are actually the worst girls because they get into the most trouble and they're loose with the boys. They're more loose than the girls that don't wear the hijab. In some areas people say this. That's got nothing to do with what Allah revealed regarding that situation. It's from His sha'air. Yeah, I don't keep a beard because the people that I know that keep beards, they do so-and-so. Well, all the people that I know that are barefaced are serial killers or psychopaths or Klansmen or skinheads. So you have to take your pick. You can't choose things just based upon saying, well, because there's some people that do this, that therefore it must mean, no, you cannot do that. When Allah has His sha'air, or one of them, a sha'ira, we say, no, this thing is from Allah's manifest signs. And maybe if you see that there are people that are corrupt like that, oh, all the people that I know that have beards, they're all corrupt, then why don't you grow one and stop them from besmirching the image of Islam and do something about it? Oh, all the people that I know that they wear hijab, they're all bad, or they do this, then why don't you wear it and show how it's done and stop them, and maybe you'll be a good warning and a role model to them, so maybe they'll say, subhanallah, she just started doing it and we've been doing it for all these years. Astaghfirullah, we need to fear Allah. And maybe it will affect them. Rather than looking at the side, people don't do this with food. I'm not going to eat food because all the people that I know that eat food are chubby. We don't do this. And I say this because it may seem like a ridiculous example, but so is the example that people are using for leaving off aspects of the revealed law. Yeah, I'm not going to drink. I'm not going to drink juice because all the people that I know that drink juice, they're this. You don't do that. Why? Because you know that it's something that has to be done. Why? Because if you don't eat and you don't drink juice, what happens? We bury you and we say 4 takbirs and that's it. Well, this is more serious because the revealed law to Allah is severe, where Allah will bring you to account. So it's more severe than that. So anything of Allah that's a manifest sign that Allah always has put out, and that He always makes someone manifest, that is called a sha'ira. So the hijab is a sha'ira. The amama is a sha'ira. The beard is a sha'ira. The adhan is a sha'ira. These are manifest things that when people see them, they know that this is Islam. They know that this is Islam. And that's why you find sometimes there are people that are trying to ban certain things, stop certain things, because they're trying to stop the sha'ira. And so it puts you in a situation of having to be more strident about the sha'ira of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that's what sha'ira is. Imam Ibn Al-Jawzi rahimahullah, he says, quote, in the language of the Arabs, Hajj means al-qasad, the intention of the heart. And every intention that one has, can be said to be a hajj in that sense, or a mu'tamir, one on umrah, because umrah and hajj mean a qasid, an intender, one who is setting out intending to do an act. And when it is mentioned that there is no harm upon the one that makes tawaf of both of them, the harm meaning here is sin. There is no sin upon someone if they should make tawaf around them. The Muslims were only avoiding tawaf of Safa and Marwa because the place had idols there. But just because the place had idols there before Islam does not necessitate that you have to avoid the place altogether. You should know that Allah, mighty and majestic, has put no harm in anyone making tawaf around them. And whoever is on a voluntary Hajj or Umrah and does so, then Allah accepts that, is grateful to that, and knows all things. And shukr from Allah means He rewards it and He praises it because He is Al-Jameel. Close quote. So this is referring to the fact that those that do so don't have any fear in your mind about what was there from before. So that's why when unbelievers sometimes see Muslims doing things, they say, but wait a minute, the Kaaba, the Arabs when they were pagans, they were making tawaf around the Kaaba. You Muslims are doing the same thing. Isn't it sort of a carryover that you've sort of incorporated the worship of the moon god into your religion, and these are the type of things that you hear. But no, let's look at the case. The Arabs, up until from the time of the Prophet ﷺ, from that time to Amr ibn Luhay, how long were the Arabs involved in idolatry? 1,250 years. So what were they doing prior to then? Well, why don't you ask the Greek historians? They visited there and didn't find any idolatry. They said they found them worshiping and adoring and glorifying an imageless deity. Do your homework. So this is the reality. The Arabs had only been upon that paganism for about 1,250 years, from Amr ibn Luhay to the time of the Prophet ﷺ. That was not that long. So when you see sometimes things will seem similar, oh, that seems similar to what the pagans did. Well, it's not the pagans that we borrowed from. The pagans borrowed from us. Because everyone in the beginning was what? Or everyone was Muslim in the beginning. So any things that you see that are similarities between Islam and some things that are pagan, well, that's the pagans borrowing from the Muslims because they've corrupted and kept some parts of it. Imam Al-Jawzi, rahimahullah, he says, quote, now there are two narrations from Imam Ahmed regarding going between Safa and Marwa. Abu Bakr al-Athram narrates that whoever had left going between Safa and Marwa, the Hajj of such a person is not complete and it is not valid. It is related from Abu Talib, from Imam Ahmed, that if someone left it intentionally or unintentionally, due to certain circumstances, they're not held to account. But it's not valid for them to leave it without reason. And this is narrated from Al-Maymuni, that going between As-Safa and Marwa is from the recommended matters and recommended Hajj and Umrah. Close quote. Now, there's a couple of things here. Imam Ahmed rahimahullah, in mentioning this decision, has to do with the fact of the conditions of Umrah and Hajj. Umrah is often called, in the mustalahat of the ulama, al-Hajj al-Asghar, the smaller Hajj. Why? What are the integrals of the Umrah? The integrals. If there is a difference of opinion or have you been taught differently, I realize that. But I'm only speaking from what the Imam has given us here. The integrals that were given to us by Imam Ahmed and narrated through Maraja after that time were the wearing of the ihram from the place of miqat, the tawaf, which is the 7 shawt, the 7 circuits. Each circuit is not a tawaf. You have to do 7 shawt to make one tawaf. Some people they don't make a difference. No. One circuit around the Kaaba, that's not a tawaf. A tawaf is 7 shawt. Okay? So, ihram with niyyah from the place of beginning, which in that case would be either Tan'im or wherever you flew into, past the miqat. So putting on the ihram at miqat, the tawaf around the Kaaba, the 7 circuits, the going between Safa and Marwa, that 7 times, and then the shaving or cutting short of the hair. Those are the integrals of the Umrah, the smaller Hajj. Again, you've been told that, well, this is integral and it's not. I'm not going to get into that. I'm just telling you what's been narrated here in the Imam and what's been handed down. As for the Hajj, someone says, well, the Hajj is the larger form of this. Yes. The Hajj includes those things and more though. So you will have a time where you're staying in Mina. You will have a time where you're staying in Muzdalifah. You have a time where you're staying at Arafah. The stoning of the 3 Jamarat, the Kubra, the Wusta, and the Sughra. The return to Mecca and then the return back to Mina for 2 days. It has all these different things, and that is the Hajj. So when someone makes a niyyah, because you have the 3 forms of Hajj, which is tamattu', ifrad, and qiran. The tamattu' will be the combining of Hajj and Umrah from the time you make your niyyah, you touch down, you make Umrah, you complete all the rites of Umrah, the season for Hajj comes, you put the ihram back on and intend, head out to Mina, and you fulfill the rites of Hajj all the way to the end, and you've completed the Hajj and the Umrah. This is tamattu'. This is what the Prophet ﷺ recommended his ummah. Qiran is what the Prophet ﷺ did. This is to wear the ihram from the time you land up until the end of the Hajj. Now think about this. People leave here in the last 2 weeks of Dhul Qa'dah. You're there in ihram from the last 2 weeks of Dhul Qa'dah all the way until the end of the Hajj season. Now keep in mind, if you make a mistake in your tamattu' umrah, you've just nullified your umrah, but your Hajj will be fine. If you make a mistake in qiran and you nullify your Hajj, so's your umrah. It's nullified as well. That's the dangers that you face. Possible scratching, hairs falling out, have to pay expiation for a certain number if you scratch too many. You have to look out for these things. And finally, ifrad, which is making the Hajj itself and arriving at the Hajj season. Everyone is clear that Safa and Marwa for Umrah and for Hajj must be done. And this ayah establishes that making tawaf around them is one of the ayat al-ahkam fi fiqh al-hajj, one of the ayat of ahkam in the fiqh of Hajj. That tawaf, this is your proof. So when someone says, where's your evidence that we've got to make tawaf around Safa and Marwa, you quote this ayah. So this is the proof right here. This is the evidence. Here it is. And then they take that. Well, what's the proof that you have to do it even in the recommended times? It's in the same ayah. The proof is there again, because فَلَا جُنَاحَ عَلَيْهِ أَن يَطَّوَّفَ بِهِمَا. And if he's doing an optional one, وَمَنْ تَطَوَّعَ. تَطَوَّعَ means optional. If he's doing an optional one, that is good as well. So you have to do them in whether it's optional or it's a compulsory one. Let's say you've done Hajj and Umrah already, but you're doing it because you want the blessing for it, or you're doing it for someone else, right? All these things have to be taken into consideration. Now, Ahmed mentioned another point, that at one point, if someone left doing, because Imam Abu Bakr Al-Athram, who memorized 700,000 hadith, he mentioned that Ahmed narrated that whoever left going around Safa and Marwa, the Hajj is not valid. That's with them being able to, and they knowingly leave it. But if they became ill, or something happened to them, or they simply could not complete it because of some severe issue, then Ahmed, his ruling is that they would not be held accountable for that. They would have to do some sacrificial rite or make-up procedure for missing out that integral of the Hajj, because it wasn't their fault that they were hindered from it. So Safa and Marwa are from the integrals of Hajj, and they're from the integrals of the Umrah. They must be completed to complete the rites in all normal circumstances. The general hukam is they must be completed. So if somebody fails to complete that with purposeful intent, they're not prevented, then the Hajj and the Umrah won't be valid. Imam Ibn Al-Jawzi rahimahullah, he says, quote, so the Exalted One has said to us in no uncertain terms, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يَكْتُمُونَ مَا أَنزَلْنَا مِنَ الْبَيِّنَاتِ وَالْهُدَى مِن بَعْدِ مَا بَيَّنَّاهُ لِلنَّاسِ فِي الْكِتَابِ أُولَئِكَ يَلْعَنُهُمُ اللَّهُ أولئك يلعنهم الله ويلعنهم اللاعنون إلا الذين تابوا وأصلحوا وبينوا فأولئك أتوب عليهم وأنا التواب الرحيم إن الذين كفروا وماتوا وهم كفار أولئك عليهم لعنة الله والملائكة والناس أجمعين خالدين فيها لا يخفف عنهم العذاب ولا هم ينظرون وإلهكم إله واحد لا إله إلا هو الرحمن الرحيم